Good afternoon, everyone. My full name is Quách Khả Tú, and thank you, Miss Wang, for introduction to CPH. And now, let me continue the section CPH. Okay, so I remind a little bit again. The CPH is the abbreviation of the phrase critical period hypothesis. Suggests that there is a time in human development before puberty. So when the brain is predisposed to success in language learning, developmental changes in the brain affect the nature of language acquisition. It's difficult to compare the younger and older ones as second language learners. In addition to the possible biological differences suggested by the critical period hypothesis, the conditions for language learning are very different. For example, older learners they often in situations which demand much more complex language, so they have the expressions of much more experienced, complicated ideas. And that's the reason why older learners are more efficient than younger learners. Naturalistic setting or instructive setting is extremely important to be aware of the natural and instructional settings. In order to investigate the effect of the methods in relation to age factor, it's essential to understand the two settings to be able to implement the methods in the learning period and for the learner to be able to succeed. According to Munoz in 2010, past results of the effect of age and natural setting indicate that young learners tend to outperform older learners in many different skills. And young learners might start slower to learn the language, but in the long term, they acquire superior proficiency level that can be compared to almost native-like language skills. So this demonstrates that, according to Munoz, she summarized in an instructive foreign language learning setting, an early start does not automatically confer an ultimate attainment advantage. This may be considered to be crucial age-related difference between a foreign language learning setting and a naturalistic language learning setting. A study by Munoz in 2006 examined two groups, older EFL children age 11 and younger EFL children age 8 in Spanish school setting. And the results is older learners of English as a foreign language progress faster than younger learners on a variety of oral and written texts. So younger learners caught up with older learners on oral but not written texts. And younger learners did not surpass older learners over time. So that's also the question pop up in our minds. So at what age should second language instruction begin? According to Neil Roberts, according to the national curriculum, children should start learning a second language from the age of 6 or 7. The most popular languages are Spanish, French, German, and Mandarin. Mandarin exactly is traditional Chinese. Okay, and it depends on learner goals, like ability to communicate and functions in the language. And early start comes up with risks, particularly for minority language learners. An amount of time for instructions is like 1 or 2 hours a week, uh, and older learners make better use of the time. So, in conclusion, age is necessary but not sufficient for successful second language learning. And there has to be motivation and sufficient exposure to the target language for the learner to benefit from. In other words, for successful second language acquisition, exposure and the role of motivation seems to be more significant than the age factor. So that's all my presentation. Thank you everyone for listening. And also, I'm so sorry to Miss Hom and everyone for my absence today because I have a class for a speaking test in the afternoon. So thank you for listening. Goodbye.